Hey guys, it's Kay from KS Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/Tales from Retail. And I am kind of excited to let you know that there are actually two viewer-submitted stories in today's episode. This first one is a viewer submission from Bella Lugosi. I'm going to try to include some sort of name with these in the future and now. If you guys just leave like your first name or let me know if you want to be anonymous in any emails you send me, that would be awesome. Hi Kay, people seem to have liked my radiator story, so I thought I would send a Tales from Retail story. Again, I've never posted it anywhere. Many years ago, I was a delivery driver for a pizza company. I was there for 15 years. It was a fun job and I got lots of free food. I had not been there very long when I noticed this one odd thing would happen almost every day. I would arrive at the delivery address, ring the bell, and I would hear a small voice say, "Who is it?" Then the door would open. It was clear the parents were telling these kids to not open the door until you ask who it is, but they were forgetting to tell them the most important step. Wait for an appropriate reply. At first, I just ignored it. They would say, "Who is it?" I would say nothing, then the door would open. After a while, I decided to have some fun with it. I would respond with the craziest things I could think of. Things like, Grim Reaper, Killer Clown, and my personal favorite, Axe Murderer. They still open the door every time. That's so cute. I love that they're just like, okay, just open the door. I mean, obviously that's dangerous, and I'm really glad that you were the person at the door and not some actual axe murderer, Grim Reaper, or Killer Clown. But that's just a fun story. Thanks for sharing with us. What the heck is chocolate for boys? I work at a Polish grocery store. It's a pretty small place, so we don't have a whole lot of stuff. This also means that I'm usually working alone, so no one can help me with things like this. One of the things we sell are boxes of chocolate filled with either jam or liquor. One time, an old lady came in. She will be Elle, I will be me. "Hi, what can I get you?" "Hi, I'm looking for a box of chocolate." "Okay, sure. Is there a specific one you're looking for?" "Yes, I need some chocolate for boys. I'm going to bring it to my grandson." Of course, I have zero idea what this means. Okay, how about this one?" She looks at the box, a fruit one, and she scowls at me. "Did you hear what I just said? I need chocolate for boys." Okay. Do you want a liquor one instead?" "No, it's for my grandson. I just want some chocolate for boys." "Okay, can you please point to one that fits the criteria?" "Seriously? Fine, I'll go somewhere else." Then she leaves without buying anything. I still have no idea what chocolate for boys is. What? I have no idea what chocolate for boys is either. That's so weird. What? Customer thinks he's a genius for discovering a loophole. Back when I started at family-friendly retail store that's known for its flip-flops, we had signs on all the registers that said, "If we don't ask for you to sign up for our store credit card during your transaction, you get a $5 gift card free." I had a middle-aged man come through my line and buy some items. I asked him if he wanted to sign up for our credit card, and he declined. I proceed to tell him his total, and he pays. Then he reads the little sign we have on our registers, informing them of the free $5 gift card if I didn't ask him to sign up for our credit card. He checks out and goes to our section near our register where all of our impulse items are. Candy, trinkets, keychains, dog toys, etc. About 5 minutes later, he comes back to my line with a small toy that cost a few dollars. Because I just offered him the credit card, I didn't ask him this time if he wanted to sign up for one. You see where this is heading. He walks up to my manager and demands a $5 gift card because I didn't offer him the opportunity to sign up for a credit card during the transaction. Honestly, to spend a few dollars just to get a free $5 gift card and think that you're honestly sticking it to the man? Wow. I would have been highly amused if his little scheme didn't work. Because wouldn't that be hilarious for him to go and waste his money buying a toy that was a couple bucks just to not get the $5 gift card? You are more than just a cashier. This happened at a place I no longer work at. We were a grocery store that sold furniture also. I was, as the title suggests, a cashier. This lady comes to my register and asks a question I couldn't answer. I think she needed furniture or something. And I respond with, "I'm sorry, I can't do that as I'm just a cashier. I can gladly get my manager to assist you." Then she loses it. "No, no, no! You are not just a cashier. I'm not leaving here until you smile and say I have value." I just follow what she says. I have value? Kinda standing there just trying to make her happy at this point. "No, you didn't mean it. Again, but smile and be happy and proud. Say it loudly now." I smile the best that I can. "I have value!" "Good. Now you can get the manager to help me with the bed." "Yes, she will be back there shortly." This was just an interesting experience. I laughed about it later, and so did my coworkers. But I do try to smile more. I legitimately know some people who would actually do this to you. It's nice, maybe, like, to strangers out of the blue, kind of like for the situation. Like, it was kind of odd, but it was, it was wholesome. Nice retail story here. But I do know some people who, when they know you, will continually do it to you, and it starts to get really annoying. But for this situation, I think that's a nice story. Customer yells at me for showing her compassion and empathy. You read the title right. That's exactly what happened. This was back in 2009 when I worked for a really popular retail chain. I was walking along the main aisle between the kids' clothes section and the registers when I saw a woman holding a basket that was overflowing with items. Like, if she had tipped it too much one way or the other, stuff was sure to fall out of it. She also had more items shoved under her right armpit. A second later, her cell phone starts ringing, and it's a flip phone, so when she goes to flip it open to answer, the stuff in her right armpit falls to the floor, and as she tries to catch it, a bunch of stuff falls out of her basket. Thinking quickly, I spotted a shopping cart somewhat nearby and went to get it. I wheeled it over to her, picked up the items on the floor, and set them in the cart. This woman paused her phone conversation, looks at me, and goes, "I didn't want a cart. What the heck am I supposed to do with this?" She was loud. So loud that everyone who was around could hear her. I told her that I had just wanted to help because I saw her drop several things and wanted her to have an easy shopping experience. Or words to that effect. I was already flustered at that point. The customer yells at me again. "I didn't get a cart for a reason." She yelled some other things too as she walked off, but I don't remember what they were. The ridiculous thing was that even though she got mad at me for bringing the cart to her, she took the cart with her when she stormed off and used it to do the rest of her shopping. A manager who had overheard came up to me and seriously told me that I shouldn't get carts for people even if they look like they need them because it's too imposing. So not only did this customer get angry at me for doing something kind, the manager scolded me for being kind too. For a few days after this happened, I was really upset. So much so that I talked to one of my coworkers about it because the two of us often shared stories like this with each other. She actually went to the HR manager and told this person that I had been saying nasty things about customers. That same day, I was called into the office and scolded for gossiping. I had pleaded my case quite a bit, even explained that this coworker often told me about her experiences with customers, but that made no difference. Things far worse than this happened to me there, but this incident had a lasting effect on me. The kicker was that I stopped doing acts of kindness at this place because of the way I was attacked for it. I know that wasn't right, but I couldn't lose my job over being kind. I had bills to pay. And after some semi-decent tales from retail, we get this story, which is the soul-sucking side of retail, where you just can't win. And I absolutely hate being in situations where I can't win. If I do something, it's bad. If I don't do something, it's bad. It's just one of those situations that makes you just lose your mind and be so upset. And yet, I bet you they would have been somehow told later on that they needed to take initiative or something if they didn't get the cart. My store loses all power in the middle of the night. I'm a part-time cashier at my local grocery store, and they normally have me on the closing shift 3 p.m. to 12 a.m., aka midnight, when we officially close. The story starts yesterday at about 10:15 or 10:30 p.m. after all the non-closing cashiers and shelf stockers leave, so we were left with our customer service manager, CSM, our actual manager, AM, and me, and one other cashier, OC, and 3 stockers. We were all doing our thing because we were a smaller store. I was at the register checking out a line of about 5 people, and the other cashier was sweeping up the front. I started scanning the next customer's stuff, a bunch of French breads, when all of a sudden the lights flicker and then everything goes dark. A loud popping sound and alarms start going off, and I'm left with the emergency power powering my register screen, basically blinding me with the bright blue and white UI, and the sudden and near absolute darkness. I'm looking around wondering what the heck to do when the actual manager rushes up behind me and tells me to get everyone out the door as soon as possible, which in hindsight was probably to prevent anyone from stealing, causing panic and hurting each other, etc. I found out from this event that I actually do really great in high pressure situations, so immediately I start yelling, corralling, and ordering all the people in line and getting them out the door alongside AM, who is forcing the doors open to let them out. It actually went rather smoothly, even with a couple of kids crying from the shock of it all. After they were all out, I was sent by AM to scour the rest of our store to see if there were any stragglers, so I fast walked around the store, looking through each dark aisle to see any silhouettes of confused and or stealing customers. No one was there except a couple customers in the pharmacy area who just turned on their phone flashlight and kept shopping, which was really funny to me that all they did was turn on a flashlight and continue shopping like nothing happened. They didn't even steal anything, literally just continued shopping. I escorted them out, and thusly the store was empty of customers, and every remaining employee aggregated to the front near the doors where the emergency power shut down every register, and the only thing illuminating the store at this point were small lights lining the outside rim of the interior of our store. AM tells a lot of us to guard the fire exits, which we have 3 of, in case someone tries to get in or out, maybe? I honestly don't know the specific reason behind it, but after a while of chatting with a stalker that was guarding one of the fire exits, we get told by OC to get to the front again, where we started making a plan. Okay, now that everyone's here, first things first, we need to get some screwdrivers and board up the doors. Everyone laughs from the joke. Okay, but seriously, we need to do something about all the coolers, and especially the meat. We do not want that getting warm and lose a ton of money. One of the very knowledgeable stalkers spoke up. We have some saran wrap in the back. We can use that to wrap up the displays to keep them colder for longer. At that, I agreed to that and immediately followed him to the back room, where AM tells everyone else to follow us, get some saran wrap, and start wrapping up the middle displays. The displays have the yogurts, the sausages, macaroni salad, etc. First thing I do is tell OC to help me out, getting all the bags of flat pretzels off the top. I get a spare cart that was inside the store, and we start loading it up with the bags. After we're done, I tell OC to hold the wrap down while I wrap all the way around, tripping over display crates and a stack of alcohol all the while. AM is freaking out over the wall of meats because saran wrap wouldn't hold to make a wall covering it, so they had to improvise. They took cardboard boxes and flattened them to place them on top of the meats to keep them cooler for just a little longer. In the end, we had to do the same thing for the juices, the other wall of meats near the front, and the open freezer displays next to the wall of door freezers. Me, OC, and another stalker very shoddily wrapped up 2 displays with the sausages and stuff, covered up the meat, juices, and open freezers. Unfortunately, we didn't have nearly enough cardboard boxes to cover everything, so the eggs, bacon, cheeses, and their cottage and cream variants, and a few puddings and cakes couldn't be covered up. Honestly, from there, we just kind of loitered around until it was time to go home at midnight. We somehow miraculously did all that work within an hour after the power went out. By that time, most of the emergency lights were off because emergency power was running super low, so everything was getting darker and darker. The AM had written down all our names to clock us out once the power comes back on, since he, as a top-ranking manager at the time, had to stay in the store to keep it running. Relatively at least, and to ensure its safety during the blackout. I talked to him when I came into work today, and apparently it was only literally a few minutes after all of us left, so it didn't take much longer for him to do his last duties and then go home. I can only imagine the crap that the morning shift had to go through though, putting all the boxes away, cutting up and removing the saran wrap, and putting lowered price stickers and barcodes on most of these supposed to be cold items, especially the meats. On the bright side, the morning manager praised us for our quick thinking and efficiency in taking care of all our stock. Granted, we didn't cover the cheeses and vegetables, but I'll take it nonetheless. This whole thing was one heck of a team building exercise though, and the most interesting thing to happen in my short, nearly 3 months of working here. It was a lot of fun too, running around a grocery store while it's pitch black. That does sound like a very epic experience. There is something about emergencies that definitely can pull you and your coworkers together. I once went to work when literally like almost nobody was going to work because we had a storm that had snow and ice and barely anybody was out on the roads, but our restaurant was still open and we actually got quite a few customers for the kind of day that it was, but you know, whatever. And so our manager like bought us all food from another like a fast food restaurant or something in the nearby area, and it was a fun time. It was just an experience. It was different, and those are the things that we like to experience in Tales from Retail. So this next story is actually the second viewer submitted story, and I don't know if this name I got was from the email itself or whatnot, but it appears to be from someone named Robert. So thank you so much for submitting this story. Hi Kay, really enjoy your channel, so I thought I would share this. I can't say that I've ever seen an entitled Karen in the wild, but I'm from the west of Scotland, where giving out a reality check seems to be everyone's responsibility. But one time I was going to Morrison's, a supermarket chain in the UK, where I saw a guy, early 30s, pull into a disabled parking bay. He put a blue badge in the window, which means he has the right to park there. So he got out of the car and was happily heading inside when a grumpy granny just blew up on him.
Why the heck are you parking there? That's for the handicapped and the people that need it.
I have a blue badge.
Hey, probably stolen.
The random dude calmly takes off his right hand and tosses it to her. The grumpy grandma catches it, freaks out with a shriek, and throws hand back at the random dude's feet and stands there stammering, trying to find words, generally trying to find the English language.
Well, you still shouldn't park there. Your legs are fine.
Yeah, but you try carrying the bags out. The random dude picks up his hand and walks in. All the while, I was laughing uncontrollably, since he tossed her his hand. I was doubled over my trolley, unable to breathe, but still in hysterics. I seen the guy inside and told him he was a legend. The random dude had seen me laughing outside and offered me a high five, obviously using his prosthetic. Instant friendship made that day 2 years ago. Hope it makes you chuckle. I can't look back on this day without a smile splitting my face. Hope you can share it with the world. That's awesome. Him just casually pulling his hand off and throwing it at the lady makes me think that he might run into this type of situation often. Good on him, and thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm really glad that you enjoy the channel. And also for anyone who's wondering why this story ended up in Tales from Retail, I feel like that's the closest I'm going to get. I know it may have fit in maybe like r/entitled people, but I didn't foresee me making a video on that in the near future, and technically it did happen at the supermarket, so there you go. I work as a courtesy clerk for my local mega chain grocery store. Cart collection, cleanup, and customer service are my main workloads. As with most mega chain stores, we have a motorized cart for any customers that may have problems with walking. I don't know what the situation is for other stores, but if the user wants to, they can drive the cart out to their car, provided someone escorts them so the cart can be brought back in. The cart sort of works the same way a lawnmower does. Even if it's on, it won't work unless a pressure switch in the seat is triggered. Someone has to be sitting on the seat. It's awkward walking along the side of the cart while pressing down on the seat with one hand and guiding it with the other, so most clerks just write it in, which most people don't have a problem with. Note that I said most people. I was called to the front to help a man using the cart with loading up his car. I followed him out, did the deed, received a toonie for my troubles, and proceeded to drive the cart in. As I went in through the doors, I passed a couple who were leaving with their groceries. The woman gave me a confused look as I drove past them, but I paid it no mind. I drove the cart back to its charging station, hooked it up, and began walking off when I heard a shrill voice behind me.
How dare you? Have you no shame?
I turned around to see the woman from the couple I had just passed on their way out, walking up to me with a look of malice on her face and a swagger in her step that said, "You're in trouble and I'm gonna put you in your place." I'm sorry, but are you talking to me? I asked the woman.
Who else would I be talking to?
She snapped back.
You have the audacity to drive around in that handicap cart when you can walk just fine.
Oh, no, I wasn't driving around in it. I was bringing it back in after a customer was finished with it, I politely retorted.
That still doesn't give you the right to drive around on it and waste the battery. What if someone who actually needs it comes in?
Ma'am, the cart goes into carring mode whenever it's not in use and has a long battery life. Me driving it back into the store won't drain it instantly, and I wouldn't be able to use it unless I drove it back in.
Stop making excuses for your laziness!
This woman's shrieking had gotten some people's attention, one of which was my department's manager. She walks up to the woman and says, "Excuse me, miss, is everything all right?"
No!
The lady barks.
Your employee is messing around on the handicap cart and trying to lie his way out of it.
My manager turned to me and asked me to explain. I told her about the customer and how he took the cart outside, so I was just bringing it back in. At that point, the woman barged back into the conversation.
But that doesn't give you the excuse to use it!
My manager told her to calm down and reiterated that the cart wouldn't work unless someone was sitting on it, so it was 100% okay for me to drive it back into the store. The woman wasn't having it though. She still tried to argue that I shouldn't be using it if I wasn't in need of it, that it takes the cart away from those who really need it, blah blah blah. My manager heard enough and told the woman that if she didn't peacefully leave, then security would be called to escort her out of the store. And walked out of the store. And that crazy customer story is actually going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and drop a like. And if you would like to submit something to me for narration in one of my videos, feel free to send it to ksanonymous@gmail.com. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!